program proudly brought to you by the Herald Sun Books for School promotion.
From National 9 News, this is Nightline with Hugh Remington.
Britain refuses asylum to children on the run from Woomera. Possible breakthrough in Melbourne's Yarra River murders, and more terror with Palestinians launching a double suicide bombing. Good evening. Also tonight, a shaky start for Tiger Woods as he goes hunting new records at the British Open.
No, you're doing it now.
Two young brothers are back in Australian detention tonight after a dramatic appeal to Britain for asylum. The children who escaped from Woomera Detention Centre last month walked into the British consulate in Melbourne today, pleading for sanctuary. Tonight, Britain's Foreign Secretary Jack Straw said no. Laurie Wilson with our reports.
The two boys have been on the run for the past month following their escape from Woomera. After a day of high drama in which they applied to the British consulate in Melbourne for asylum, they were finally taken back into custody tonight by Australian authorities.
The boys have been taken away by the Federal Police. Their claim for asylum has been rejected.
Earlier, British consular officials had done their utmost to ensure the two youngsters were not arrested before the authorities in London had had a chance to consider their claim.
1, 2, 3, go. Thank you.
According to Immigration Minister Philip Ruddock, the boys and their mother and sisters who are still being held at Woomera have already been refused asylum in Australia. The boy's father, Ali Bakhtiari, who's living in Sydney, is also likely to have his temporary protection visa revoked because he's a Pakistani and not from Afghanistan, as he claims.
In relation to these boys, as part of a family group, decisions were made that they are not refugees.
Mr Ruddock says he's pleased the boys have been found safe and well, but he's not offering to review their case. The Prime Minister, meantime, rejects suggestions it could fuel fresh condemnation of Australia's policy on asylum seekers.
Because I've just been to Europe and I can tell you that our policy was not criticised, quite the reverse.
The youngsters, who are aged just 12 and 13, are now being held at Melbourne's Maribyrnong Detention Centre.
They tried to explain they didn't want to go back to jail. They considered Woomera to be a jail, that there is no future for them at Woomera, and they're both very, very disturbed.
Are they crying?
Yes, they were.
Laurie Wilson reporting for Nightline.
Melbourne police are tonight still questioning a man over the murder of 3 men in or near the Yarra River last week. The man was arrested in suburban Sunshine this morning, as Charles Slade reports.
6 detectives from the homicide squad swooped on a house at about 7 o'clock this morning. After questioning the occupants for nearly 3 hours, they emerged, arresting one young man they believed could help with their investigations. The home is registered in the name of a Vietnamese family. The possible breakthrough comes 10 days after 19-year-old James Huynh was hacked to death in South Yarra. A gang of up to 15 frenzied attackers had chased him and his 3 cousins 500 metres from the Salt nightclub. Brothers 21-year-old Nam Huynh and 25-year-old Viet Huynh then drowned in the Yarra River as they tried to escape. The 3 young men were buried on Tuesday amid scenes of great emotion. The man arrested in Sunshine this morning was taken to Homicide Squad headquarters about 10:30. Police confirming only that he was questioned in relation to the South Yarra killings, but giving no further indication how their inquiry was progressing. Charles Slade for Nightline.
Fresh questions have been raised about Collingwood's sponsorship deal with FAI Insurance. The former finance manager with the failed HIH Group has admitted signing a falsified letter granting the club $250,000. Bill Howard told the HIH Royal Commission the sponsorship letter was drafted by Magpie director Brad Cooper, who in return agreed to pay more for shares in HIH. The Commission's been told Collingwood might have to repay the money if there is proof of impropriety. The New South Wales Government's drought relief package announced today has received a lukewarm reaction. The assistance includes subsidies for transporting water and stock, but farmers say it just scratches the surface.
The Premier saw it all for himself before jetting in from a cloudless sky. On the ground, it was show and tell from drought-battered farmers.
All too familiar.
Then, details of the relief package.
An interim measure, the first stage of drought assistance.
1,100 farmers, but only in the Burke, Brewarrina and Walker districts, will be entitled to 50% subsidies for trucking in household water and transporting stock for slaughter. The water subsidy capped at $5,000, the stock subsidy $20,000. A drought inquiry hotline will be set up and there'll be more money for counselling services. Overall, farmers here today were hardly rejoicing with the news. They say the package is a start, but otherwise it's a case of too little, too late.
I really don't see anything here that can really help me at the moment.
They say what they need most are subsidies for trucking in feed, transporting stock to greener pastures and cheap loans.
Quite clearly we'll be looking for some greater assistance.
At least here they get something. In Sydney, the opposition was asking, what about the rest of the state?
The Premier today has announced a Clayton's package.
The drought will be closely monitored. The package reviewed at the end of next month.
I mean, I should have been looking into it about 6 months ago, as far as I'm concerned.
The big hope is that the Commonwealth will forward natural disaster funding. Matthew Watson for Nightline.
The federal government has found itself even more at odds with the states and territories over crime, with the focus now on drugs. Today, non-federal police and health ministers claimed Australia remains in a heroin crisis, which Canberra's planned new crime commission will not be able to control.
A staggering 3 tonnes of heroin has passed through addicts' veins in the past year. And while even greater quantities were seized by customs and federal agents, it's a problem that's getting worse.
It's starting to find its way back onto the streets in far greater numbers than it has been for the last 18 months or 2 years.
Police ministers gathering in Darwin again today, where they were joined by health ministers who share their concerns. The Labor-dominated Drug Strategy Council elevating the issue of hard drugs, fueling criticism of the federal government's proposed Australian Crime Commission. The states and territories fear the new model will slash the crime-fighting effort, which they say is already letting in too many illegal drugs.
We saw that in a Ministerial Council on Drug Strategy, where you would expect to have constructive work on drug strategy, they instead were concerned with political point scoring and political games.
While the Commonwealth insists the National Crime Authority is intercepting more heroin, the smaller jurisdictions who, under the Crime Commission, would do more investigative work, say the agency is losing staff and in crisis.
The Commonwealth must provide resources for the National Crime Authority to continue the fight against illicit drugs.
Michelle Fraser for Nightline.
A Sydney grandmother who over 12 years cheated $100,000 out of the social welfare system will pay for it in jail. She was sentenced to 3 years for falsely claiming sickness and disability payments.
In one life, she was Kay Baker, a grandmother with a full-time job at Telstra. In the other, she was Lila Kay Conway, too sick to work and reliant on social security. It was a double act that lasted 12 years. While taking home a salary, Baker also netted sickness and disability payments, totalling nearly $100,000, duping her doctors into supplying medical reports, telling them she had, among other things, back pain and migraines.
She ended up in a situation where she first needed the money to bring up 3 children on her own after a lot of difficulties. The problem is, once that it had started, it's very difficult for her to have stopped.
When her double-dipping scheme finally unravelled, Kay Baker gave this excuse to authorities for her long-running deception, telling them it was because everyone does it and gets away with it. Today, the 55-year-old cried as she was jailed for 3 years, the judge saying the public had to be deterred from committing fraud. It's difficult to imagine a more serious case of imposition on the Commonwealth.
She's just shattered, yeah, just absolutely shattered.
There's only one way to deal with someone like that, and that is put them in the slammer.
Nina Stevens reporting for Nightline.
Overseas now, and the Islamic extremist group Hezbollah says it was behind a double suicide bombing in Tel Aviv that killed 3 Israelis and injured 40 others. But the Israeli government has again blamed Yasser Arafat.
Proof yet again that Palestinian suicide bombers are not in short supply. This time militants unleashing not 1 but 2 bombers onto the streets of Tel Aviv.
They detonated their explosives within seconds of each other in an area crowded with shops, cafes and a cinema. For the hardened emergency crews, this was nothing new. The all too familiar task of dealing with the dead and treating the injured. The attack came at the end of a day which had seen Israelis burying the victims of yesterday's bus ambush on the West Bank. 24 hours of violence has shattered any illusion that the current Israeli military crackdown may bring an end to the terror. In truth, nothing has changed.
The Palestinian people will bring about their own self-destruction. Suicide bombing is not the way that could lead to peace.
Before this latest outrage, Israeli warplanes had targeted a suspected bomb-making factory on the Gaza Strip. And with the two sides as far apart as ever, there can be little doubt more will follow. Damien Ryan reporting for Nightline.
Now to finance news, and a rebound on Wall Street and stronger commodity prices finally brought some life back to the Australian share market. The All Ordinaries finished up 27 points. BHP Billiton rose 5% to 9.77. AMP put on 60 cents. MIM gained 5 cents, and Rio Tinto finished $1.71 higher to crack $34. Among shares falling, Macquarie Airports took a 25% tumble to close at 47 cents. Harvey Norman was down 7 to 2.78, with Woolworths losing another 18 cents. Overseas now, and Tokyo rose 2%. The Nikkei up more than 200 points. In London, the FTSE is trading 75 points higher. Gold is steady on $317.65 US an ounce, and the Australian dollar tonight is buying 55.15 US cents. It's a little under 55 euro cents, 64.5 yen and 35 pence. Ahead on Nightline, the massive cost of taking the wrong medicine, and fears a serial killer is targeting children in California.
There once was a swagman camped in a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree.
He told tales of magic pudding thieves
and said friends, Romans, countrymen.
The story of a 900-degree skateboard spin.
And the chant of Jimmy Blacksmith.
Children need books to help them grow and develop. And with the Herald Sun, you too can help by continuing to collect the Free Books for Schools tokens. Every token collected will go towards more free books. Continue to collect a token every day, only in the Herald Sun.
Uncle Toby's Oat Temptations. Smooth, creamy, instant oats with real fruit pieces and natural grains. The delicious way to warm up this winter.
The Door Store's massive up to 50% off clearance sale. Over 300 doors on display, domestic and commercial. Quality locks, levers, edge glass, lead line, architrave, skirting boards and more. Up to 50% off clearance sale.
122 Cochrane's Rover Rabbit.
Run in now to the final Hyundai Accent run out. How would you feel about getting into Australia's best small car from only $49 a week with deposit and 30% residual? Or from only $14,990 drive away, no more to pay? How would you feel about getting the car voted Australia's best small car 2 years in a row? How would you feel about getting the car named Australia's most affordable to own and run? Hurry, from only $49 a week, Hyundai Accent's running out fast.
What do you want?
Madam Longshanks, it's the champions of Essendon. I just can't decide who to pick as the all-time Bomber champion. What do you think?
The champions of Essendon is your chance to tell us who you think the all-time champions of our great club are.
I see. Michael Long. Hang on. Aha!
Place your vote each week on the Essendon Football Club website or by calling 1902 245 049. Choose wisely.
People who are sceptical about doctors used to say the drugs they give you will kill you. It turns out they might have had a point. It's been revealed 140,000 people go to hospital each year because of unexpected reactions to medication. A meeting tomorrow will try to find a solution.
A year ago, it was estimated 80,000 people were admitted to hospital annually because of problems with medications. Now a new report finds the figure closer to 140,000, not necessarily because of negligence, more because of confusion and the sheer volume of people taking medication.
7 out of 10 of all of us taking one medication a fortnight at least. Many older Australians are taking multiple medications.
Close to 2 million prescriptions are written each year. The report finds people can misunderstand instructions, take drugs at the wrong time or from the wrong bottle, causing reactions. For some people, it's a straight-out reaction to a drug that puts them in hospital. The report also identifies a need for more computerised script writing to avoid prescription errors. It's no secret pharmacists struggle to interpret doctors' notoriously bad handwriting. And to avoid the problem of handing out the wrong medication, the AMA wants a national barcoding system.
If you have a barcode which uniquely identifies every product, and you scan them on the way out for patients, then you will pick up misidentification.
Health ministers will consider a national program, which the report author says could reduce the problems by 50%.
Electronic prescribing, individual patient supply, better information to patients, better communication between hospitals and the community.
Cheryl Taylor for Nightline.
Queensland public hospitals are tonight enduring a staffing emergency after health workers voted to stay off the job until the morning. About 2,000 non-nursing workers marched on Parliament today, demanding better pay and conditions.
Up to 2,000 health workers, from pathologists to cleaners to radiographers, walked off the job to Parliament House. Solidarity forever. There were rallies like this across the state, echoing through the corridors of power.
Where's Peter?
Peter had gone west to Dirranbandi to try to solve the salinity issue.
Should have been there today when they marched on Parliament.
No. It is the rally herd, an arrogant, out-of-touch government.
And I can tell you, you've lost a couple of thousand votes. Yeah! Thank you.
So angry are these workers, there's now even talk of the unions offering their own candidates as alternatives to sitting Labor MPs.
Unless this government gets off its arse and starts doing the right thing by us and delivering decent outcomes, they'll be held accountable at the next election.
What began as a half-day stoppage turned to 24 hours. A unanimous vote to make the point as firmly as possible.
United, we bargain. Divided, we beg.
While they protested, a skeleton staff and volunteers manned the wards. Hospitals reported services were stretched, but they coped. The longer this dispute goes on, though, the tougher it'll get. Lane Kelcut for Nightline.
In the United States, authorities fear a serial killer is on the loose in California. The naked body of a 5-year-old girl has been dumped in a forest near Los Angeles.
The way the body was found, almost like a calling card, like a challenge. I'm here and I'm coming back again.
Samantha Runyon was snatched from outside her home by this man while she was playing with friends.
Samantha, she's screaming and she said, "Help, help."
A massive manhunt is now underway. Police fear the killer will strike again. Security is being stepped up again around America's most famous landmarks after 4 Al-Qaeda suspects were arrested in Madrid. Spanish police say the men had videotapes of possible US targets, including San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, the Statue of Liberty and Disneyland. Hundreds of radical Hindus have protested in the streets of New Delhi over the latest attacks in Kashmir by Muslim militants. The demonstrators attacked police barricades, condemning the government for failing to stop the killings. 28 people died in the latest attack in Kashmir over the weekend. And another territorial dispute, this time in the Mediterranean, has sparked threats of war between Spain and Morocco. The crisis centres on this tiny uninhabited island just 200 metres from the North African coast. Both countries claim ownership, the dispute coming to a head when Spanish troops removed a group of Moroccan sailors who were occupying the island. Sports news after the break, including a new world record for Australia's Grant Hackett. And the Cats ready for their moment of truth against Essendon.
Deep underwater, science is trying to save mankind.
Wow. Pretty scary stuff, huh?
But playing God has made the food chain smarter.
Tell me what that is.
So before they can save millions of lives, they'll have to save their own.
Are you safe?
For the first time on network television, starring Samuel L. Jackson.
We're gonna find a way to get out of here.
Not a chance. Oh my God.
Your deepest fears will surface. Deep Blue Sea premieres 8:30 Sunday on 9.
Watch out. Creatures from outer space are invading village cinemas all over Melbourne right this very minute, and only 2 men can stop them. The Men in Black are back at village cinemas.
Hi, I'm Peter Jackson. Save 50% off all suits in store. There's no exceptions. $600 suits are now $300. $500 suits are now $250. 50% off all classic suits in store. Absolutely no exceptions.
This is DVD, and this is the man who created it. Koji Hase, chairman of the World DVD Forum for 5 years and recognized with an Emmy Award.
Toshiba have consistently led the way with new DVD technology, and here's their latest breakthrough, the remarkable 2000 series. With cutting-edge features and technology, including 4-step zoom, at the very affordable price.
Toshiba, at $399, you're looking at the best.
I gotta let go, gotta leave this thing behind now that I found something new inside. Watch me now as I'm leaving you behind me. Realize it's time to dive and let me free. Like the bird, I feel the wind blow. I know when it's time to go.
Don't put up with a blocked nose. Clear allergic congestion with Clarinase.
It's upside down, Miss Pat.
Clarinase clears blocked noses.
From Cirque du Soleil's Alegria to his own award-winning production comes Slava's Snow Show. At the Comedy Theatre from October 9, on sale Friday through Ticketek.
To sport now, and Denmark's Thomas Bjorn is the leader midway through the first round of the British Open. He is at 4 under, 1 shot clear of a group of players, including Scotland's Sandy Lyle. Tiger Woods is 3 shots off the lead. Craig Parry is the leading Australian, although Greg Norman did get to 2 under at one stage. Tiger Woods was in trouble early, letting fly at photographers who got too close for comfort.
You guys take enough freaking pictures already?
Greg Norman went to 1 under with this putt at the 7th. And it didn't take long for Tiger to join him.
And Tiger knocks that one in.
Denmark's Thomas Bjorn wasn't missing out on the birdies either.
And Thomas Bjorn storms in another putt.
The first round continues. In AFL, Geelong coach Mark Thompson faces a challenge to keep the Cats' winning streak alive in Saturday night's clash against Essendon, coached by his former boss Kevin Sheedy. Thompson has never been able to beat the Bombers since joining Geelong, but the near sellout match is considered his best chance yet.
If Mark Thompson looked a little more intense at training tonight, he had good reason. Not in 3 years has he mastered his former master. Kevin Sheedy, once a friend, now a foe, always the victor when they've met as coaches.
I've knocked him over in a Wizard Cup, but not in the real stuff.
Despite Cameron Ling and Brenton Sanderson out, it's the Cats' best chance since '98 to again topple the Bombers.
I'll enjoy it if we win on the weekend. I'll enjoy that very, very much.
Even more enjoyable given he had to queue at Windy Hill for tickets to the match last Friday before Don's assistant Robert Shaw saved him and found the coach some spare tickets. While the Cats feel more than comfortable in their own surrounds, the time's come for Collingwood to get on the move. The Magpies will call the Olympic Park precinct home from the end of next year, although they're also likely to call it something very different, cutting a lucrative deal to naming rights for the new $13 million facility.
Eddie, what do you think the naming rights will be worth?
Plenty. The Bulldogs are fast running out of chances to stay in the final.